Reggie here, and I am super pumped to show you all the designs that we have been working on. Not just for the space that I'll film videos in the future, but also the space that will be reserved for the 100K collection. And stay tuned until the end of the video, and I'll show you some awesome books that I managed to find in the collection while hunting this weekend. So we're going to start things off by looking at the first floor of the garage, and I will tell you that this is a slightly outdated schematic as we recently made some updates with the architect who has yet to implement those changes and send back revised drawings. So we're not going to focus on the overall garage, but we are going to zoom into this one area in the upper left quadrant here. And you can see that this one is clearly labeled comic book collection. This room is going to be roughly 24 by 20 feet, and it is large. There are going to be 4 windows in there, 2 at the back and then 2 on the side. I'll be blacking all of those windows out, but they are important because I potentially will not live here forever. So we want to make sure that it accommodates the collection, but the space is also functional as well. There are going to be 2 entry points for the collection, one from the front through this door at the bottom that you see, and then one off to the side that will give you access to what we are calling the pool house. But what we have done in here is we've actually configured this room to be able to accommodate a lot of those shelves that I currently have in the garage. Wonderful way to accommodate the collection, and we are kind of planning for multiple shelves to be spaced throughout the room while also giving me enough room to maneuver. One of the challenges that I have in the current garage is that the aisleways are relatively narrow, so it makes it tough to get a long box off of the shelf. I will not, hopefully, fingers crossed, have that problem in the new space. It is a large space and should work quite nicely. Ideally, over on this left-hand side between these windows, I may have like a workbench or something like that where I can pull comics out and examine them and maybe even do some filming. We will see what happens with that. So the first floor should work quite nicely. I actually had to give up some space in the revised schematic that you'll see at some point. We actually made this downstairs bathroom a lot larger. We actually turned it into pretty much a half bath. Honestly, it's more like a full bath, but I had to give up a little bit of space to accommodate that. But that is one of the sacrifices that you have to make. So let me stop sharing that. I'm actually going to go back and show you the second story. And again, the second story is pretty large. I mean, overall, I do believe the square footage is around 3,600 square feet for the entire project. But up here on this upper floor, we've actually made a ton of revisions. We're actually getting rid of a couple of these staircases, which cleans up the upper level quite nicely. But in this first part here, what you'll see is recording studio. So I'm actually going to have a dedicated recording studio space that is roughly 11 by about 11. You technically don't need a whole lot of room to record, but we're going to have a dedicated space. I'm actually going to have them put in some soundproofing in the walls that will give me better insulation from outside noise, which hopefully will allow me to be able to film during the day without any problem. But we're going to insulate this room, and this is where I'm actually going to be recording all of my future videos. You can see that there is one window in here. Again, same thing. I'll black that window out and make use of the full space. Not quite sure exactly how I'm going to set this room up just yet. I may end up putting a desk pretty much right in the middle part here, and then having all the camera equipment be closer to the door. But we'll see. We'll see how the space feels when it actually gets built out. The other thing that I'm actually really excited about is this area in front that's called his office. It's technically not an office, but it is going to be a large area that I will probably make use of for comics. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with the space, but this could be where I actually do a lot of my shipping out of. So we'll see. It's a wonderful space. I'm actually quite excited about this entire project, and fingers crossed that we are going to be able to bring it to life. Without a doubt, I am pumped about this new space that we're going to be building out. At the moment, I have no dates for when we're actually going to break ground, as construction and labor costs are still crazy high, but hopefully we can make magic in the not too distant future. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some cool books that I managed to find this weekend. This first one is actually the first cover appearance of Blackfire and also the first appearance of Adrian Chase, who goes on to become Vigilante. And I found multiple copies of this book in the collection. This is one that I pulled out. It was not bagged and boarded, but I spotted the newsstand and also the date stamp, and that kind of caught my attention, so I pulled it out. Just thought it was a cool book to showcase. So a couple of copies of New Teen Titans issue number 23. While we're on the topic of Teen Titans, and there are several in here, this is New Teen Titans issue number 9, and this is the second appearance of Deathstroke. And I managed to find in the collection multiple copies of this book spread across a few different bins. It's 4 copies right there. Again, definitely a cool book and a cool cover there. No doubt about that one. I do believe that is a George Perez cover. Definitely a cool cover. Next up, speaking of cool covers and George Perez, I managed to find a couple of copies of this. How many did I find? 5 copies of this book right here. This is New Teen Titans issue number 34, and this is the really the first cover appearance of Deathstroke. He actually appeared on the cover of issue number 2, but was obscured. Most of him was obscured in the shadows in the background. This is actually a book that we recently showcased on the channel and has been added now to Key Collector app. Shout out to Doug for doing the research and identifying this book, but I went digging and managed to find several copies of this book in the collection. So definitely a cool find. I also found 3 additional copies of New Teen Titans issue number 1, couple of one direct and then 2 newsstand. I found multiple copies of this book in the collection. Every single one has a little yellowing to the page, a little foxing, and definitely some spine ticks, and these are no exception. They are right there. I keep my fingers crossed that I'm going to find a really clean copy, but as of yet, I have not been able to locate one, but still a really cool book to find in the collection. Whenever I find it, it's definitely a score. So very cool. And I'm looking forward to the new Teen Titans season coming up. I think it's season 4, so I'm definitely excited about that. I've been enjoying that show. Speaking again of New Teen Titans, we're going to keep it going. I think that this is the last one. This is New Teen Titans annual issue number 2, and this is, I do believe, the first Vigilante, the first Adrian Chase in costume right here. So definitely a cool book. And again, I found a ton of these in the collection, and this appears to be a pretty nice copy. A little bindery tear there, but generally a nice copy of that book. This is one that for some reason has become hot. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but I knew that I had some West Coast Avengers in the collection, so I was like, let me go ahead and pull it. Let me go ahead and show it. And I managed to find one copy. I think there was only one copy of West Coast Avengers issue number 46. This is the first appearance of the Great Lake Avengers, and there was some speculation about this one because of some kind of She-Hulk audition tape that was leaked. I don't know if there's much there, to be honest with you, but again, I thought it was a cool book to be able to showcase, right? You don't get a chance to see West Coast Avengers all that often, so I wanted to go ahead and show that. This next one is a book that I found a lot. Well, no, I found one copy of before, and this weekend I managed to find a total of 3 copies. None of them are perfect. I think one might be better than the other 2. This is Detective Comics issue number 583. I think that this is the first appearance of Scarface and also the Ventriloquist. So just a really cool Mike Mignola cover right there. Just cool. All right, the dark tones of Batman set against the orangish yellow background, I think is really cool. So while we're on the topic of spec, because so much of this is about spec, this is Detective Comics issue number 585, and this is the first appearance of the Ratcatcher, and I managed to find a single copy in the collection, and it is a nice copy. It really is a nice copy for its age. It is in pretty solid shape, and also because it's a black cover, notoriously hard, I don't see through the plastic any color breaking spine ticks, but I will definitely take a closer look. Definitely a cool book to have found. And then the very last book that I'll show you is Batman issue number 28. And this is the first appearance of Harper Row, also known as the Blackbird. And I do believe that there was some spec around this character appearing in the Gotham TV show, a show I still have to watch. But again, Batman issue number 28, just a really awesome book right there. All right, so there you have it. That's essentially the stack of books that I managed to find in the 100K collection this weekend. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, I want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment behind so we can mix it up in the comment section. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.